You actually insulate the edge 2 feet out, so the frost doesn't come under.
Yeah, with that.
It is 5 o'clock. I call the Finance Facilities Committee meeting to order. First item is the energy program update. And Angela, I will turn this over to you to introduce your guests.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Jim Haven. He is our energy specialist for Manitowoc Public School District, and he works with us on our synergistic energy program. That is a program that we started May of 21, so we are entering our 4th year of a 5-year contract. So part of that is that MPSD hired part-time energy specialists, and they work with him and with the district and so on various things, and he knows our buildings well and helps manage those things. So I'll turn it over to him and he can tell us a little bit about where we're at.
Okay.
So as Angela said, this is a 5-year program, and what this program has done, it has a base year, and the base year was a COVID hit, so the base year is 2019, and they took all the invoices from the steam, from the electricity, from the natural gas, put on there and said, okay, this is what you've been running as your base. And what this program does is try from that base year to make changes to make it more cost efficient. And we have figures from 2 years and 9 months, so not quite 3 years. And the total program savings has been $535,000, which is 18.5% overall savings. And another way that you also could look at it is because electricity, natural gas, steam rates have all been going up, that if you stayed at that base year, or at that base level, it would actually have, we would have been $186,000 more.
So that COVID year really didn't do too much to us at all.
Well, the COVID year, they just threw that out because students weren't in here, whether, it wasn't a fair example of what a normal.
It's still in the 5 years. Still in the
It's not.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
So what they did is, when they signed this in 2021, they couldn't use 2020 as the base year because of COVID, so they had to go back an extra year to 2019.
So was your contract extended a year, or did you not tell us?
The contract goes to May of 2026.
So it wasn't extended at all?
It has not been extended.
They just know, we would decide then at that time whether we're gonna continue with the program. So, yeah, regarding the base year, they just shifted what they used as that base year. It didn't prolong it or anything from that perspective.
So you said we're right now with this, we're up 535,000 in savings?
Mm-hmm.
We'll take that.
Overall, the program was estimated to save around $1 million total. So with all costs figured in, so. And Jim, or go ahead.
That's right. I was just going to say, obviously, we chart it monthly. We put all the invoices in, and if something pops up where it doesn't look right, then I investigate it and try and see what it is. We've had an issue at Stangl with the water. So some of the data I have is real-time data for electricity, but for water, steam, natural gas, I get the invoice, and if it's out of whack, then I'm starting to backtrack to see what the issue is. And if it's an ongoing issue, tackle it as quickly as possible and make the necessary changes. So obviously, the big months where we can potentially have savings would be the winter months, because that's where we're spending the most money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm really looking at, and making sure the buildings are scheduled, and if people are using them, they're scheduled properly. And if they're not in there, then there's no need to be running that gym after school hours and whatnot.
Sure.
So our energy usage per square foot has gone down from 75 to 51. So and our buildings, as old as they are still fairly efficient. We are getting some Energy Star certificates. So we're making good use of what we have.
Awesome.
And I guess just a couple side notes. Obviously, by using less electricity and natural gas and things like that, it's better for the environment. And there's little things here that said, what we've saved so far is 8,287,755 miles driven by an average passenger vehicle. So.
That's kind of a nice comparison.
So we are trying to do our part. I think we've made some good strides. We are even looking at trying to save the district more money by going outside of Wisconsin Public Service and using a broker to try and buy it cheaper. And we still will have to pay WPS some money for using their pipes, but hopefully try and get it at a more attractive rate.
Did we already do that, Angela?
Yeah, yes, we had actually started procuring our gas officially this past November. And, we had talked about that probably starting 2 years ago already.
Yeah.
Tony had shared that idea and encouraged
Yeah,
us to look
sorry.
into that, which is great. No, you're good, and feel free to move that if you need to. And so when you enter the natural gas procurement market, you have to enter like in a March, and then you get yourself set to go for a November. So like we talked to our different options and made a selection, the fall previous, so we're in our
Right.
first year yet of procuring gas, so.
And then you're betting on averages. So if we have a really warm winter, and we're not using as much gas, and the price of natural gas is being depressed because people don't need it as much, it could hurt us a little bit. But on the other end, when you get a really cold winter, we're gonna look like heroes on that, so.
Well, I'm not hoping for a really cold.
No, I'm
winter, so-
not, I'm not either.
I got a quick question, guys. Did you say we're tracking for $1 million in savings? Did I hear that right?
For the synergistic savings, like over the 5-year term, the goal was projected around between like $9-15 million in total.
And we're at 535 so far?
Correct.
And how far
yes.
through are we? So are we on track to hit?
We're at 2 years and 9 months,
Yeah.
Okay,
so almost 3 years.
So we're on track.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, so and some of the things in district we're trying to do, there is also the energy program guidelines. I mean, that's, we're trying to it's good to always communicate out what we're doing with that. So part of that is kind of a mixture of the insurance and safety pieces along with saving energy. So just trying to, get everyone educated about how they can do their part, so.
Yeah, there's some low hanging fruit where I walked through all the buildings and just saw personal use of items that maybe necessarily shouldn't be in there. There's a lot of refrigerators that maybe instead of having one in every classroom, either at the teacher's lounge or one in that wing or however it is, but try and get that a little bit more under control.
Any other questions? Awesome, thank you.
All right,
Thanks for
thank
your
you.
report. We like these kind of reports, the money saving ones.
Keep bringing good news.
Yeah, except for that winter cause, we don't like that.
I got
Okay.
plenty of firewood. at camp.
MPSD Energy Operations, Angela.
And
Information.
we just kind of just mentioned that along with the energy update, so just that's what we just sent out to staff, trying to get, bring everyone the information of what are reminders to staff. So our kind of linked in with our liability update, we continue to work through just making the work environment, and some of those things were just noted in there. We wanted to make sure to mention them to staff as they end the year and prepare for the next.
There was quite a few years ago, there was quite a push to get all of those individual refrigerators and all these things out of the classrooms to I don't know where that went or how well it's enforced, but I know that was a issue a number of years ago.
We found the folder.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
That folder dated back a few years, didn't it?
Yes, it did, so.
Any questions about this? Operations report? Okay, thank you. Next, we have the PSD Executive Summary Report.
So this is actually our insurance renewal for the next year, and, premium rates are up in all areas except one very small area for commercial prime. If you look at the top of page 3 is the easiest place to see the summary. Some of the changes that Monica Schrammel, our broker, had mentioned is that with all the special weather events, they're making a lot of changes to insurance coverages where, and rates are just going up just because of the severity and number of natural disasters. Also, where we get hit with a hailstorm in the past, and everyone get a new roof, and everyone really looked forward to that. They're sort of changing coverages and limitations on that. So we just have more liability, everyone does. So that's just kind of an ongoing trend.
So that's an increase, that the deductibles increased this year on that?
The premium is, yes, and then the deductible as well. So just if we were to have storm damage, we would have, and that's one of the main reasons I wanted to share that, just a difference, just because of the trends. And some of those changes are things that were in place in other parts of the nation, and they're bringing them here just because of the number of storms. Like if you're in Tornado Alley, they've always had those approaches to coverage, and now they're just carrying them forward in areas where they've had extensive losses. Regarding workers' compensation, we've made great progress in our current year, just in managing losses and staff safety. However, there's a lagging effect to when that premium is calculated. So this year we have an increase. Our mod rate was 1.69. It's going up to 1.82. Luckily, the rates went down, so we didn't get it hit as hard on the premium increase, but we'll have one more increase year in our mod rate because our COVID rate will fall off the next year, and then we will start to experience the savings of all of our efforts.
Explain that mod rate one more time.
Yeah, so the mod rate is calculated on, if you look back 4 years, the 3 oldest years. So
On the workman's comp.
on workman's
Yeah.
compensation, yes. So it's, the policy year is looking right now at 2021, 22, and 22, 23.
Gotcha.
In 2021, we had about $80,000 of losses. That was in the COVID year, and we're in the $150,000 range now. So while our year is significantly lower, where we've had $400,000 and $500,000 loss years, we don't reap the benefits quite yet because of the timing and the lagging effect. Yes.
I don't see in here about the property. Is it our policy's actual cost value or replacement cost value?
The depreciated cost value. I want to say intro value. Just trying to find it in here. Trying to find the wording where they put that in here. Yeah, it just says effective July 1, we'll have $100,000 deductible applicable to water damage claims, where it was it's $25,000 now for all things.
Not worried about that. I'm just worried
Okay.
about the replacement cost value or actual cost value. There's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been sneaking that into the policies now where you get actual cost value, which is a lot less than replacement cost value. I've gone through 2 hailstorms in this county, and there's a huge difference to the consumer when they write the policies with actual cost value
Let me write that.
compared to replacement cost value.
Let me get a
I'd
clarification.
like the answer on that.
Yeah, so replacement cost value versus.
Actual cost value.
Okay, I'll bring that back to the full board.
This report just is informational to the board. You can answer Matt's question at the
Yes.
next board meeting, but there's no action needed by the
No,
board. This is
no.
just what's going on.
Correct. So just wanted to make sure that you saw the updated premiums, and that's where we're at for this year. Our total, we talk every once in a while about our total insured value, and that is up to $344 million. So that's just interesting to know when you look at 1% or 2%, when we look at the suggested amount for maintenance, you'd be looking at, you know, $3.4 to $6.5 million annually, and we're significantly lower than that at this time.
Do we shop this?
We have not shopped our brokerage, we've shopped our different coverages with the same broker to different, we went out to market last year,
Okay.
so.
How often do we do that?
Every 2-3 years we do that, so.
Yeah, I might ask them like, hey, that's a pretty big increase.
Mhm.
I've seen insurance costs go up too, but I would think before we just, you know, take a $70,000 or $80,000 increase, we should maybe ask them, hey, is there anything better out there right now?
And at this point in the year, we would be looking to go out to market for next year, just because we buy in July 1 already.
So we're kind of stuck with this year.
Yes, but we can definitely go. Every school district, there's been a lot of the business managers have been going around saying, hey, how much increase have you had? A lot of them have been, you know, very, very taken aback by the amount of coverage increase that they've had, so, yes.
Okay.
So, but we can plan to go out to bid on it next
I
year.
would for sure. I mean, especially if it's going up by that much. And, you know, I've seen rates go up, but I've also seen,
Mhm.
in my experience, you know, a variance in what that amount is. So I think it would be worth, you know, make the broker do his job if we're gonna see increases like this.
Yep.
At least make sure he's looking at everything.
Yeah, on the workman's comp side of things, I remember about a year or two ago, we had that presentation about the, you know, the efficiencies we were building in to try to reduce our mod, and I see our mod has increased.
Yeah.
Did you give a pretty good presentation or with how you've laid that out and why? Is this still from a year ago or 2 years ago, or has the claims gone up?
It's the lagging effect, so like
I-
our internal work has really paid off and
Yep.
we have much less lost time, which is good, so I don't know if I'm getting your question exactly.
Kinda, I understand this is a year or two ago. So.
And it's hard because it doesn't show off in the.
But you've
premium.
made some gains.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
that's
We
what
have a
I'm
lot
concerned
less
about at this
lost
point.
time and we're very, you know, sometimes we'll have it where we had one case where, you know, someone thought, oh, I can just be off work and we have to be very active in talking to the principal and saying, nope, you can't give them a choice, it's light duty. You know, we have to be aggressive on it. And, I mean, there's sometimes you still have some lost time depending upon what the injury is, but we have a list of work that they can do
And
and
the reporting time has
yeah,
gotten a lot
yeah.
better.
And we
Okay.
don't have, if they're a teacher, they don't have to be teaching. They can be labeling the library books or helping with another project at their school too.
Chris has a question.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to state, because I was thinking about the same thing, it was just over a little over a year ago that we were told we weren't sure we were even gonna be able to get workman's comp,
Yes.
because our experience on using it had been so high. So
Mhm.
while 13 points is a bite,
Mhm.
it's better that we have workman's comp than don't have it, and the fact that you can even see that it's trending down
Mhm.
is a sign for hope for us. You know, because one of the things that can really kill you if you have a year where you can't get it is trying to get back on it.
Mhm.
It can really spike on you, so I'm glad that we're able to maintain it. And I think if we put the stuff in place to really help make it work, we'll be able to bring it back down over time.
Definitely. And Carl Gruber, our SFM, we've sold a new carrier and Carl Gruber works very, very closely with us. He's worked with the Student Services Department. He's come to our insurance walkthrough meetings. And so it's been very nice. They're very pleased with the measures we've taken, what we have in place. And they understand that it's not overnight that this changes. They just want to see us doing the exact things we're doing. So they're very happy with our progress right now.
Do we have any claims in the last year
For workman's comp,
or for any of this coverage?
and not for any of the liability, but we do have, for the workman's comp, we have things reported all the time, but usually they're, you know, report only or medical, and so it's just the indemnity, which is the lost time, like the medical costs and the lost wages that, we have very, very minimal. So we've had $150,000 worth of claims roughly this year.
Okay.
So.
Is that typical?
Usually we've had around $400,000, $500,000 of losses, so we're really doing well where we've brought it down significantly. I mean, it's knock on wood, because we've
That's
got a
good.
week left, we could, you know,
Absolutely.
we don't want to. So, But we're very pleased with where we're at and how we're managing it now. The changes we've made have been working, so.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Next thing we have is the Manitowoc funding report.
So yes, the E-rate, we do E-rate funding for our internet service and fiber access.
Sure.
For the schools. I just wanted to share that we received our award. We have $105,000 that we receive for this, every year, so, or around that same amount each year. And then we've had additional upgrades that we've just been going through in the last week or two to upgrade our wireless and hardwired. So these are some of those major expenses we talk about when we talk about putting money into Fund 46. So that we received like an additional $500,000 of funding for in this funding year. So just good news, and it's a great source of funding for our
So those
school
grants
district.
coming back have to go back into this. They can't be used for anything else. It goes with
Correct,
46
yes.
back into this
Mhm.
E-fund.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a certain amount of funding that you can claim over a period of 5 years. So that's called, this is category 1 stuff, which is our usual annual usage things for E-rate. But then the bigger projects, you have a pot of money that you can use every 5 years, and we've had that fully utilized at this point. So,
And what did we get back this year?
this year we had $500,000 and $500,000 in discounts, so. In addition, more around 600 by the time you'd add category 1, so. And MPU partners with us and with on the year, so,
It was another good report. Thank you.
yes.
Anybody have any questions regarding that funding?
So, yeah, help me understand this again, this is for us having internet or something, or?
Yeah, so we have a fiber connection that's, there's a connection with MPU and there's a port over at Lincoln High School and to MSC. And I think mainly to Lincoln High School. I'm not great at explaining how Jessica.
That port's with MPU's been there for a long time.
Yeah, and I want to say maybe 10, 15 years ago, Ken Mishler worked to get that with them and Steve Bacalzo. And so that's the transport of it, and then the actual service is through WISCnet. I believe we have a connection that runs up through to De Pere, and that gets our service for the internet, so, yeah. So
That's the way it was. I don't know if it's.
it still is, yes.
Can this make our internet better?
It's,
Faster.
yep.
Yeah.
10G internet connectivity and fiber connections, which is great.
Angela, who prepares our filing of the E-rate?
We work through E-rate online, so we use them as a consultant to help us through that, and there are many, just the bidding and stuff that we're required to do for every couple of years for these services, which typically there's only one vendor available, but then for the category 2 as well, so they help us run or go through all of that. There's a lot of federal guidelines and requirements, so they.
How much do we pay them for that service?
$3,500. Very reasonable.
And they're the only one working with Jessica?
Jessica and I work with
Okay.
them together in
Thank
tandem.
you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the last one is the purchasing. This has been referred, or this policy, strictly informational, is going to the Policy and Personnel Committee Policy Review. And what it is we had talked about it, I think, at our first committee meeting, about looking at those rates. They were 3,000. I know Matt had made a motion to bring it up. It wasn't really acted upon by the board because it's going to still go to committee, but wanted to show you, and Angela wanted to show you some possible language, possible changes, possible additions and deletions, possible increasing of certain categories, and also take a look at some neighboring school districts, so what their policies look like, especially Sheboygan, which would be our sister school district as far as policies, personnel committees, and that kind of thing. And also Valders has a very strong one. So this, again, has been referred to policy and personnel to really do some definition, do some definitive work on it. bring it through the committees that way and then back to the board for its reading, but those are just samples. And I brought it here just because we had mentioned it at a financial meeting. We aren't taking any action, it's been referred back over to them. So you
Blue is
do have,
removal or yellow is, what is the code here?
Just it tracked the changes. I did a comparison document, so between like our current document and then Sheboygan's. So a lot of it is a template, and so Sheboygan just had some additional clarity that was nice. I think when I administer this policy, sometimes like the online subscription agreements or, ongoing contracts, they have clarity about like, okay, something over 4 years needs to come to the board. That's helped. In the old policy that we have now, it doesn't have a timeline on something like that. Sheboygan and Valders, I thought, well, we had talked about $5,000 as requiring 3 quotes. And Sheboygan had 10,000, Valders had 10,000. I had forgotten about that, and we had talked about 5. So there's suggestions, but it has to go there.
Correct.
And then just I think the one sentence that has the most confusion and even for myself, even where the interpretation can mean a lot of different things, is that with the purchase of items or services. So, I just wanted to make sure that we address that, if you guys wanted to, because it seemed like there was a desire to just review that, so.
well, that's why I think it's to give this committee an idea of what other districts are doing and look at our policy, look at the language before it goes to policy and personnel for that definitive work. So like I said, it's just
My question
information.
is, when it's highlighted with blue, you're saying you'd like to remove that?
That
And
is
the
inserted stuff and
insert-
then that replaced, yeah.
Okay, blue is inserted and yellow is what?
And then yellow
Changed?
is a change, yeah.
And red is an addition to?
Mm-hmm,
If we could
correct.
have like a little key,
I can make something a
would be
little
amazing.
clearer for that too, yeah.
because it's really nice having the 4 policies, like, I like that, just maybe a little key.
Mhm. I think it's like where I inserted and they have like the new and old, if you hover over the yellow, and
Mhm.
then on the inserted is on the blue.
Thank you.
So,
So, just a suggestion.
And that'll be good for policy and personnel to have those kind of indicators as well.
correct.
Angela, in terms of the addition of services, what was the reason for that? I don't see that in the other comparable. I mean, it would be nothing that I would have recommended.
I think that there was just a lot of discussion about that, and I think one of the things when actually Colin Burnell brought looking at this policy up 2-3 years ago, and when we looked at this, that was the main confusion at that time. He
To
said,
add services?
to add services to that. We looked at McWanaco's policy, we're just trying to find different policies. I think when Ken and I looked at it at the time, he said, really this only talks about tangible items. It doesn't talk about services. And here it says like when the purchase of and contract for, and it seems like that's contracted services, but that's really the contract for single items of supplies. It's kind of like how it's worded. So the policy committee can take a look at that and.
Right. I like the word, so I'm not, but I think that's not this committee's decision, that's policy and personnel's committee decision to bring that
Yes.
to the board.
And I'm happy to assist with questions or anything you need me on with that.
And I like the district comparisons. I think that's kind of a neat idea. Okay, anything for the general order of the good? I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Second,
Second.
all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Just happy to.
That's good. It's supposed to be one of the